popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. My homies ain't with him. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do, right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home. I think dude respectfully is taken away from his aura of who he is, who people respect him.
I'm in love with the hip hop culture. Blood, sweat, and tears went in my movement for the hip hop.
Jay Prince just dropped a bombshell. He's not just calling Wack 100 a snitch. He's saying this man might be the reason some rappers keep skating free while others get slammed with Fed time. And if Wack's been the one cleaning up behind the scenes, then the bigger question becomes, who's really pulling the strings? Is Wack protecting artists or covering up something way deeper? Now, if you've been tapped into the streets, this ain't exactly new. Wack 100's name been circling in Fed-related rumors for a while now. Word is, dude's been working with the feds for years, which would explain how he always seems to get a heads up before the drama even breaks online. Coincidence? People don't think so. But Jay Prince didn't just throw out that snitch label casually. He made it clear. Wack is the reason certain rappers are walking around untouchable. That's a whole different level of influence. And the first names people started throwing out, The Game, 6999, and Blueface. All three are locked in tight with Wack. And all three somehow keep dodging both legal heat and street smoke. So the real question isn't just if Wack's snitching, it's who is he protecting? And what kind of secrets is he guarding? Take The Game, for example. That man's been through lawsuits, public drama, and straight-up career-ending scandals. One court judgment alone had him owing $7 million, but he never folded. Why? Because Wack didn't just stand beside him, he took over. Locked down Game's masters, handled the royalties, and moved like he owned the whole catalog. That ain't just management, that's leverage. If you wanted to sue The Game, you had to go through Wack. Wanted a piece of his music, Wack already had the cut locked in. And when folks said that judgment was wild and unfair, Wack made noise, like he was defending a business investment, not just an artist.
Original filing was like for like $1 million, $2 million, right? But for whatever reason, because the judge was feeling the way he was feeling, he bumped that shit up to like 5 million, 7 million, some crazy shit.
So now we gotta ask, was that loyalty or a power play? Because it's starting to look like Wack 100 ain't just managing rappers. He might be running the whole chessboard. Wack 100 doesn't just manage these rappers, he practically owns the rights to their survival. Look at 6999, the rainbow-haired courtroom certified snitch. After he flipped on everybody, the entire rap game turned their backs on him, labels cut ties, OGs stayed far away, and his name turned toxic. Dude was finished. But then in came Wack. He scooped 6999 up like he was sitting in the clearance bin, rebuilt his contracts, gave him a voice on Clubhouse, even hit him with gas money when he was dead broke. That wasn't business, that was a resurrection. Wack didn't just revive a rapper. He dragged a fully canceled pariah back into the limelight like the streets hadn't already stamped him out. No cosigns, no respect, just strategic media plays and what fans are now calling full-blown federal level protection vibes. And still, 6ix9ine, and when Jay Prince called this whole thing out months ago, Wack didn't blink. He doubled down, saying 6999 was his guy and that he'd protect him. Said it like it was nothing.
He popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a fuck who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do, right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home safe.
That ain't loyalty, that's a power move. A chess piece being moved by someone who clearly knows exactly where the bodies are buried and who's keeping them hidden. And then there's Blueface, Wack's walking headline machine. Fights, arrests, restraining orders, viral moments so messy they break the algorithm. It's like this man got a subscription to weekly drama. One scandal dies, another one pops up. Pure chaos, nonstop. But here's the crazy part. Wack 100 always seems to beat the story to the streets. Before a single video drops, before charges hit TMZ, before the blogs even catch wind, Wack is already on Clubhouse with a full statement. It ain't that deep. He's not reacting. He's pre-spinning like he's got access to the court calendar before it's even printed. Every time Blueface lands in hot water, Wack's got the mic ready. He shifts the blame, tones down the heat, and somehow keeps the real mess off the front page. That ain't just good PR. That's protection on a whole other level. That's a shield with a federal grade scanner. And the streets definitely noticed something was off when it came out. Wack had been working with 6999. You think Blueface would have gone off, right? But nope, no outrage, no diss, just silence, which got folks asking maybe Blueface already knows who's really keeping the wolves away from his neck.
You found out that Wack was working with 6ix9ine. What was your original reaction?
I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you, but you know, it was just like, you know, like...
You're like, oh, okay, that's
like,
what...
okay, yeah, like, it was one of those, like, not like oh, he...
Yeah.
can't eat weird. It was more like oh.
That's the point where things start moving from just dirty to straight federal. And it don't stop there. Rumors been flying that Wack had his hands on Birdman's protection too. Back in 2018, they even teamed up to launch Cash Money West under Universal. Coincidence? Doesn't seem like it. That move might have been more than just business. It might have been about cover. That reported $20 million investment between Wack and Birdman, that wasn't just some quick collab. That was major business. They were building real industry weight, trying to push West Coast acts like Savvy Third into the spotlight. But just as quick as it started, that alliance allegedly fell apart, and not quietly. Wack hit Clubhouse with straight disrespect, calling Birdman's artist BG a rat, right after BG came home from a 14-year bid. The streets were watching, and instead of handling it like grown men behind closed doors, Wack claimed Birdman kept hitting his line, begging for a private conversation. Wack? He aired him out publicly, loud, no filter, no respect. And here's the wild part. BG's own cellmate vouched that he never snitched, said it on record, but Wack didn't care. He stood his ground with no paperwork, no receipts, just loud accusations. That move torched the bridge for good, but it gets deeper. Word is, Suge Knight had already warned Birdman years ago from prison, told him Wack moved funny and couldn't be trusted, called him shady from the jump, and looking back now, Suge might have been the only one who saw the setup coming before anyone else caught on. Because Wack's got a pattern. When he's done rocking with you, he don't walk away quiet. He flips. Suddenly, your name's being mentioned alongside Snitch, and the internet goes nuts. That's exactly what happened with Big U. These two were close for years, but now Wack's been out here dragging Big U's name into everything from RICO rumors to sealed case whispers. And here's where it gets real sketchy. Wack allegedly texted Big U's wife before one of his legal situations popped off, straight up telling her that Big U needs to leave. The whole message sounded less like concern and a lot like a Fed level warning, and not long after that mysterious text, Big U caught a federal case. So now the question gets louder. How does Wack 100 always seem to have the drop before anything hits the news? How's he always one step ahead of court filings, sealed info, and criminal charges? You can't blame people for wondering if he's plugged in, maybe even working with the feds. Then came the Rayshawn Williams case, an innocent high school football player who lost his life under suspicious circumstances. It shook the city. But out of nowhere, Wack hops on Clubhouse and casually drops this bomb. Big U's DNA was found under Rayshawn's fingernails. Wait, what? That kind of detail ain't floating around the streets. That's not barbershop talk. That's classified investigation material. Info like that only comes from two sources. Either someone deep inside gave you the tip, or you are the inside. And just 2 days after Wack made that claim, the feds showed up and scooped Big U. That timing, way too tight to be a coincidence. Now imagine you're Big U, and someone you used to ride with is now out here spilling sealed case evidence on Clubhouse for the whole internet to digest. That's not just betrayal, that's dangerous. And it's making people start to question, is Wack the middleman for the feds? Or are the feds just using him to pull the strings? What kind of man airs out sealed info and then turns around and acts like he's the victim? But here's the wild twist. Right before Big U turned himself in on that RICO case, he went on video and called Wack 100 out by name, straight up accused him of working with the FBI.
I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
And honestly, it's not hard to see why people are buying it. Wack's always running his mouth on Clubhouse like it's his personal courtroom. That's his battleground. Every time he grabs the mic, he starts tossing out snitch labels like it's Halloween candy. Gunna BG industry folks, if they ain't cool with him anymore, he's calling them a rat. Take Gunna, for example. Wack swore up and down he had a 2-hour interrogation video of him talking to the cops. Said he was gonna leak it. Made a whole scene online. But what happened? Nothing. He never dropped it. Just kept the rumors flying. Same script, different name.
Give you some time. I don't know, 24 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour. I don't know. I'm gonna give you some time though, Gunna. For you to go head on and confess.
He did the exact same thing with BG. Same tactics, same energy. He keeps throwing people under the bus. Loud, messy, and without receipts. And for half the folks he's labeled as rats, there's been no charges, no paperwork, just Wack running his usual mouth. At this point, it's starting to look less like street justice and more like controlled chaos. No paperwork, no proof, just noise, and that's the trick, isn't it? Wack 100 gets loud enough to distract people from looking at him. It's all misdirection, straight up smoke and mirrors. While he's pointing fingers, calling everybody a rat, he's out here moving like one himself. And now, let's talk wiretaps. Real court documents allegedly mention Wack's name multiple times in a 2022 federal wiretap. Members of the Rollins 60s were caught discussing him, plotting. They said he was a problem, a liability. Too many folks had it out for him, but the crazy thing, nothing ever happens to him. No street revenge, no legal drama, not even a scratch. That got people asking the obvious. Why is Wack always in the middle of the mess, but never the one getting hit with charges? How is he so close to chaos, but never in the paperwork? So folks started digging deeper. Back in 2005, Wack and his brother got caught in Texas with illegal firearms. Both of them convicted felons at the time. That should have been a big case, but instead, it disappeared quietly. No big headlines, no trial. Wack just moved around from one federal facility to another, and then he was released. No clear charges, no sentence. And that's when the whispers started. Maybe he flipped way back then, because after that moment, Wack moved different. He popped back up in LA, suddenly tight with death row names, rubbing shoulders with Suge Knight and climbing through the industry ranks fast, too smooth, no hiccups, no setbacks. That's not a regular rise, that's a plugged-in rise. Put the puzzle together and the picture's crystal clear. Wack 100 ain't just a manager, he's a fixer, a pipeline between the streets and the system. The man you call when things go sideways, because he knows how to clean it up and keep it quiet. And he don't just protect the game, 6999 and Blueface through contracts and media. He protects them legally. When they're facing real heat, Wack steps in, spins the story, shifts the narrative, and gets them out of the fire. And now that Jay Prince is out here saying it out loud, that Wack's using federal connections to shield certain rappers, it don't sound like some wild conspiracy theory anymore. It sounds like the truth hiding in plain sight. And now, the streets are watching Wack 100 like never before. Jay Prince cracked the door open, and now everybody wants to know, how deep does this really go? Because if Wack's been the middleman between the feds and the rap game, then this isn't just about him protecting artists. It's about him controlling the narrative across the whole industry. Think about it. Every time a high-profile rapper gets into a legal mess, Wack somehow ends up involved. Before the arrest hits the news, before the details go public, he's on Clubhouse or the blogs, spinning it, dropping cryptic messages, and steering the conversation. It's like he's playing chess while everyone else is just waking up to the board. People are now pointing out how Wack has positioned himself next to chaos, but never gets pulled down by it. Every artist he's connected to, The Game, 6999, Blueface, has had serious legal issues, but somehow still managed to avoid total collapse. And each time, Wack's name is right there, holding the keys, calling the plays, and making the headlines disappear. And if Wack really is that connected, then who's using who? Is Wack playing the feds to protect his money and power? Or are the feds using him to keep tabs on the streets to control narratives and maybe even set people up? Now the conversation's shifting from just, is Wack a snitch, to, is Wack running an entire network? A network that plays both sides, giving protection to his artists while possibly feeding information to powers way above the industry. And let's not forget, everybody who's ever crossed Wack publicly ends up with drama, legal heat, or suddenly getting tied to sealed info. Coincidence? The streets don't think so anymore. What started as whispers is now loud. The internet's piecing it together. The streets are taking notes. And Wack, he's still loud on Clubhouse, throwing out names, accusations, and staying 10 steps ahead like he's reading from the script before it's written. So now the only real question left is, who's next? And who's really pulling the strings behind Wack 100? At this point, it don't even look like coincidence. It looks like a strategy. Just take a look at Wack 100's circle. The Game, Wack's been managing him for years. Protected him from that $7 million court payout, claimed ownership over his royalties, and basically moved like he owned his catalog. That's not PR. That's straight control. 6999, after the entire rap world stamped him as a rat, Wack was the only one who gave him a lifeline. Rebuilt his deals, floated him gas money, and paraded him around Clubhouse like nothing ever happened. That wasn't just loyalty, that was an investment. Then you got Blueface. This man can't stay out of trouble. Arrests, legal beefs, viral drama. It's a weekly rotation. But somehow, Wack always steps in, spins the story, shifts the focus, and keeps it from blowing up into something career-ending every time. These ain't just clients. These are assets people Wack can protect and maybe use. But the pattern's even louder when you flip it. Look at the ones who crossed Wack. Gunna, BG, Big U. All of a sudden, they get thrown under the bus, called rats, tied to rumors, dragged on Clubhouse. But the ones still riding with Wack, they walk untouched. If you're useful, you get saved. If not, Wack lets the wolves eat you alive. In the internet, they've caught on. One person put it blunt. Rat 100 is a professional storytelling snitch. Another said, you can tell Wack works with the feds because he talks too much. Lesson, stay away from gossipers. Because if Wack really is working with the feds and he's out here choosing who to shield and who to expose, that don't make him just a manager. That makes him a power broker. Not just in hip-hop, but behind the curtain controlling hip-hop. So if Jay Prince cracked open the door, the real question is, who's the one Wack is still protecting in the shadows? Because when that name drops, it won't just shake the game. It might bring the whole tower down. Please subscribe, share, and like. See you on the next one.